Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Great Mini Rebuild, Part 6. In the last episode, we finished putting the bottom end of the engine back together, and in the last month or two that I've been beavering away, I've managed to finish that, and the head came back from machining with new valves, new guides, all the appropriate bits. And so this month we've basically completed the reassembly of the engine, put it all together and bolted on all the accessories just really to make sure that it's all there and all sealed up. And then we get back onto the bodywork with that done. So with the engine reassembly now complete, it's all buttoned up. I've wrapped it up in plastic and put it away in a corner. But just before I did that, I got to and made myself a heavy duty lifter that I can use to lift the engine and gearbox assembly. Bit of an engineering overkill here, but it bolts onto 4 different bolts, and so it doesn't have any of that lateral shear on the bolts that really scares me every time I see someone using just two things. Anyway, this is over-engineered to buggery. The carburetors were a bit of a mess, including some sheared bolts and bits and pieces. So onto the lathe and turn up some new bushes. Put new bushes in where the butterfly valves go. Made some new float attaching bolts since the old ones were stripped out. Cleaned it all up. See, she was pretty grubby. Cleaned it up with the water blaster, and that's come up quite well, as you can see here. The components after the water bead blasting looking nice. So now it's time to put them back together and then bolt that onto the engine together with the header pipes, and that's done. Now it's back to the bodywork, which I'm not looking forward to, but I've been putting it off for long enough now, so um, that's the end of engine work and all the fun stuff for a little while. As you can see from this, the bottom side of the car was like really badly damaged. I think it must have been rallied or something. But anyway, it's very solid, so I've decided to keep it. I've tried to straighten it as much as I can, but at the end of the day, it's just going to have some lumps and bumps. The doors have quite a lot of this little minor rust, so I've done a bit of hacking and cutting and grinding, and I've got rid of most of that. Well, actually, I should say I've got rid of all of that because I cut it all out and welded in new pieces. And with a bit of work, they'll come up pretty well. Just as photos here of it before I finished the grinding and re-welding some parts of it. But overall, pretty happy with that. So we were lucky enough to have a really nice day the other day, and so I wheeled it out of the shed, and we got on with applying some base green epoxy primer. I love this epoxy primer. It dries as hard as nails and makes a really good base coat. Um, so I've done the whole car here, and then I'm proposing to do the underside of the car with a material called Raptor Coat, which is also a 2-part paint, but it's textured and very rough. But it makes a good underbody paint in my experience. Anyway, I've done that, and here you can see the result. So we're going for something a little bit different in terms of colour. Nice, brilliant, deep yellow colour. I've got a picture here that I'll put up that shows what we're aiming for in the final product. So it's just something a little bit different from all the British racing green and red ones you see around. So with the bottom of the car essentially done, it's off the rotisserie and onto the dolly stand and onto the rest of the body. So a process, probably several processes really, of an epoxy undercoat, then find out the flat spots, beat out as many as I can and fill what I can't. Probably have to epoxy it again to cover up any high spots that I've ground down the metal, and then rinse and repeat several times. So here are these final pictures here of the final, or the grey-green epoxy undercoat again. I've ground it back, got out most of the high and low spots just by a little bit of judicious tapping, and then reapplied another coat of the 2-pack epoxy undercoat. So the next stage will be breaking out the high build primer, and then followed by another few weeks of grinding and sanding. It's starting to look pretty good. The panels are starting to look reasonably straight here, as you can see. Not very glossy with this primer, but it is pretty flat. And with the high build primer process next, that'll work out all the final lumps and bumps. Anyway, that will be enough for this month, and we'll get on with that, and we'll document the high build and the rest of the body finishing next month. See you later.